Thanks for coming. I'm very happy to receive you. Welcome to the Barcelona, metropolitan area of Barcelona. We are thinking about how to follow up this construction. Of course, we don't have, there is not reason to propose an additional equity construction, but for sure we have a lot of materials from the results for thinking some new idea, to develop some new idea around very related to the result of this construction.
So for those who may not know, alors first of all, COST, the acronym stands for Cooperation in Science and Technology. Okay. The idea here is that we are a program that supports open networks of people working together on a research and innovation topic, which means that here the key idea is the openness. So it's open to any kind of topic. It's open to any people having, any background. I guess for you, you had some people involved maybe in cities, in regions, not only researchers, maybe from the private sector. And this is exactly the point of having a good network, is a network that is diverse. So this is the idea, of course, to support this kind of network. After discussing, this is one item that I try to relate to the best of my abilities in saying for the negotiation of the next program, please consider equity in transport. It's very relevant, so keep it in mind.
We are speaking about two important challenges for our 20th century. Okay, we all agree. Social cohesion, environmental sustainability. If we translate it in the terms of mobility, it means that social cohesion requires a sustainable social system with an equitable and healthy. We were facing new social needs generated from the economic crisis, the endemic unemployment, low salaries, job insecurity, increasing territorial imbalances, and changes in productive and models and economic activities. This is the scenario nowadays. In Catalonia, we made, in fact, this law, this Catalan law, about the public transport financing system, which are the principles that rules. First of all, the integrated urban intercity public transport is considered as a global service of public interest. Public interest, you know, it means something in terms of European legislation. It must enable an equal opportunities in the exercise of citizens' rights, and in order to achieve its objectives of social and territorial cohesion. Second principle. All public competent administrations are obliged to guarantee the access to these services to everyone throughout all the territory in any condition, in conditions of equality and equity. These are words in the law.
We have new challenges for the metropolitan area in these next years. I will explain here because they are important. We need to extend the public transport services that we have concentrated in the first 18 municipalities. We have to develop them in the rest of the 36 municipalities. We also have another challenge with the new mobility planning competencies, especially in sustainable mobility. We have an air quality plan for a clean environment. We develop all the infrastructures in different municipalities for the use of bicycles. We are now completing 30 kilometers of new bike lanes and until 200 kilometers that we have planned for the next years.
ECTRI is a non-profit organization which was established in 2003, a bit more than 15 years existence almost, with offices and staff in Brussels. So you see three people working there, so limited staff. NAME stands for the European Conference of Transport Research Institutes. So as you see, it's a pretty young organization which start operating in Lyon in France and which moved to Brussels in 2010 where actually the core business of Factory, and which is advocating towards the EU institutions and promoting the work of the researchers of our network, is. We also had more financial capacity at that time, allowing for such a move and setting up a new organization there, so that's the reason behind. What is important there is the vision of our organization, being the leading European Research Association for Sustainable and Multimodal Mobility. And in addition to that, it's the mission that actually is pushing for green, safe, efficient, and there in this context also inclusive transport for people and goods. And the other aspects which I want to underline there is that we want to promote transport research and enhance the scientific quality and effectiveness of it. You need then a talented group of experts which are open, cooperative, dedicated and reliable, which are led also by strong and supportive champion, in that case was Ariane, and which open floor for new topic discussion, like it was for equity that day. Then you need a suitable funding mechanism. In that case was the cost program, which was very well presented by our colleague Mickael before, which was a unique means for European researchers for developing own ideas in initiative and this trans-networking experience. And lastly, you need an excellent proposal that, last but not least, with effective and inspiring leadership. And then again, Floridea was there. An original and innovative idea, clearly specified goals, methods, and expected deliverables. And last but not least, the strong and committed partners supporting the developments. Of course, we provided the frame, as you see, for having this proposal development. But what is more important, that what I want to underline in conclusion, is that more than anything, what is important are the people who are working on something. And I'm very glad that I was given the occasion to present today, because I want to pay tribute back, as I pay tribute by inviting Actually, but I want to pay tribute back to all those people that I mentioned. Because speaking about equity and justice, I think it is fair to give a tribute back to them.
My interest is looking at the health impacts of urban and transport planning and related exposures. We have three very good speakers. They're going to introduce the topic. The first speaker doesn't need any introduction, I think. Floridea, I mean, everyone will know her. So I give you the floor, Floridea.
Okay,
and
thanks.
thanks.
What we do in this construction was very related to the equity appraisal and measures. We would like to see the equity in the evaluation, how to include this in a practical way. We still are working on refining the guidelines because really we would like to give like not a recipe book, but quite a research book for the administration, and how to give the word to people. One of the things is emerging, maybe one unexpected result from the transport equity construction is that we cannot limit the inclusion of the equity in the assessment. What we need to see exactly what people have in mind, what they need, and how we can give to them the word to tell us what they need. So equity maybe start when people participate to design their mode of transport.
In the last years in Madrid, as in other cities, we have problem of pollution and also congestion. We have an effect of growth of the mobility, and we have most cars that are entering in the city, and also transversal way within the metropolitan area. We have also good terms because in the inner of the city, the transport public has arisen, but more and more cars are entering in the city, and we have a lot of problems of traffic that pass and across the city, but not go into the city, and that have consequences in our air quality. This result, among others, on the sharp increase of the price of housing as a cause of the economical crisis, and the young people is going to live out of the city, so more and more car travels are entering in the city. To give you an idea of the importance of transport and equity vision of transport in our plan, 21 of 30 measures of the plan are oriented to transport.
We did arrive to describing certain principles that we could say are more universal in advancing the inclusive transport agenda, and these were the following. First of all, that everywhere in the world we need to develop policies that are driven by improved data and analysis. The second one is that we definitely need to coordinate policies between housing and transport, because these are two sectors that are telling us it's a high share of incomes in the population. The third kind of universal principle is that we really need to introduce coherent pricing policies for each of the modes of transport, and these have to be in line with sustainable and social inclusion mobility goals.
Just thinking about the T-cost objectives really quickly, so two of the three, so that establish a methodology to explore links between accessibility and distributional factors, and also embed equity assessment into policy investment. I think it's fair to say that in the UK we're already doing these things quite well. So we have business cases and methodology and guidance to do these things. So I'll talk you through that quickly. So in terms of the business cases, when a local authority or any government body or organisation seeks funding for transport schemes, there's a very structured way that they go about getting this funding. It's called the 5 business case model. So there's a strategic case, there's an economic case, there's a management case and a commercial case and a financial case. So the two that are of most interest to me are the strategic case, which is there a good case for change? And the economic case, is it good value for money?
So what we can do as a public transport operator to foster equity at all levels. So first of all, I would like to talk about the service we provide. This is, as a bus company, our offer is the widest one. It's also quite flexible compared to other means of transportation. So we cover approximately 100% of the municipality. So we have a very wide offer, but not only in terms of the service we provide, but also in terms of fares. So we have different levels. We can also provide specific pricing for low-income groups of citizens. And that's what we have through the Blue Card, for instance. So that's the main tool we have, because we can address every single area, social profile, trying to provide this service. And as a matter of fact, our average frequency, regardless the demand, is 10 minutes. That means that no matter which are the conditions, we try to offer always a bus every 10 minutes.
The first idea is to improve equity, we need to team up, to work together. If we have a lot of different administration operators and we work with different ideas, then the difficult, the accessibility in the public transport, that is the topic that you asked me to talk. When we work with the PGM, the mobility plan, we recognize accessibility as a key element, but we have a lot of problems and difficulties to include real actions to guarantee equity. So, to finish, we need to recognize that there is a lot to do, make the necessary efforts to improve quickly, and thinking of everybody to come up with the best ideas.
Yesterday, I've been in a discussion about tramway at the center of the city. The evidence, the rationality says the tramway have been implemented. But for the politicians, it's a question of cheese. They have, what is my benefit with this decision? But for us, it's very difficult to change. Before, we talk about what is congestion. My question is, what do people think about congestion? The majority thinks that congestion is forever.
In Sweden, we have done a lot of accessibility and usability research regarding older people and people with reduced mobility. But we think of accessibility on a very micro level scale, I think. And I have a couple of slides, I won't show them to you, but they all are examples that we really go into detail with each of the needs of each user groups in relation to the person, its needs, the environmental challenges, and the activities. So it's a person-environment activity perspective that is sort of characterizing the studies that have been done and is still going on and focusing on currently, I would say, it focuses on cognitive issues that is sort of happens in the older age group, but also increasingly being identified by younger people as well.
For the scenario approach, the important thing to stress is that we're not looking for one representation of the future. We're looking for plausible, different futures that all have to be likely. And so to do this, we use a qualitative approach, but it was quite a systematic and quite an empirical approach, and it had 5 steps. So what we did was we said, well, what really influences transport is the activities that we do in our daily life. So we travel to work, we travel to shop, we travel to go to healthcare, to go on holiday, and we need a freight sector that provides all these materials and goods for us to do that.
Had people from the forefront of implementing the things that we've been discussing and opening it up to the floor so that it's your questions can also be added to what's been put on the table. And of course, any of the panel members who would like to comment on what their other panel colleagues have said, of course, it's open as well. What they've taken away from the discussion and what they'd like us to take away from having been here with you.
One of the main things I've taken away from this is a diversity of perspectives, and Floridea's point to the kind of 3, and the methodology for 3 different options. So it was the conservative option right through to the radical option. I'm going to be investigating that in a bit more depth. In terms of what the group could think about going forward, I think some of my questions, what does a good distribution look like, especially for example, air quality? I think it's really hard to define what a good distribution is and make recommendations to politicians and decision makers.
A great deal of work already being done. But I think there is definitely a focus on solving the problems of now and not thinking, as I was trying to convey about, how we might think about 20 years' time or even more from now and take account of things that are going to happen and how we can harness them now.
I think one of the main topics to address is maybe how we are currently assessing demand needs, because societies are changing very quick. And we may not be putting the focus on what is really important if we want to think about the future.
It's difficult to assess the development of friendly cities when you think about time saving. So I think equity could play a more important role here.
we have developed a participatory process in the metropolitan area, because a lot of times transport is not a question of a municipality, it's a question of metropolitan area.
The main idea for me now is working together, working together, not only administrations and operators, also university, cost projects and things like, and all these topics, to advance, to go further.
Might be costly and in a way might be disruptive with respect to current practice in project appraisal. So moving beyond, what I mean is that moving beyond the very consolidated practice of cost-benefit paradigm and of the utilitarian approach would mean leaving an approach that has been consolidated for decades and that is now a very well-known and diffuse common language to people that deals with project appraisal. It's a simple language, catchable also by politicians. So it would be very difficult to go beyond.
If you want different results, do not do the same things. So every morning I saw this when I walked to the breakfast room, and I said, Albert, you're right, I should have gone earlier to bed, so I would feel fresher now. But I think what we've been doing for 4 years is try to do things differently so we get different results. We want to have different analysis so we get actually different results. We generate a different perspective on our transport system by, I would say, fundamentally looking at people and not at the system itself. If you start from people, the perspective on the system changes than if you start with analyzing the system and how it's functioning.
It's very difficult to ask it to people and then to put the thought of people, qualitative thought if you want, to transform this in quantitative and to put in the model. This is a very complicated thing. So we have from one side, in the policy side, we don't have so much participation. And then in the modeling as well, we have the problem. So people should get at least what they need, they are capable of using. And this, I think, this is a key point about the metrics of the needs in models. And what we discussed during the training school gave us very good inputs about this part that is more the more challenging part of the research at the end of the history of the construction. Qualitative studies is good qualitative studies, but it's not enough. Sometimes the qualitative studies is just for saying, okay, we will give just a little bus to get the hospital for all people. This is okay. Now, are you happy? It's okay. So it's okay. There is not much reflection about this characterization of the needs like this, and then use the unsatisfied needs such an indicator for the action.
The capability approach is a very nice idea, but putting into practice in transportation cost-benefit analysis, evaluation is quite complex, and I don't think we solve how to do it. I don't think we have a way to do it, and I'll just show you the example of what Bertrand did, but she left this question, how we really define capability open. How to really define these capabilities, how to really convert changes in consumer surplus to changes in consumer well-being. Well, we did something, it worked empirically, but first we did it on one case study. We cannot say it's worked globally. It's the absolute truth. We don't have the ambitions to say it. We did something, we trusted it empirically, it worked nicely, so we say, okay, this can be an alternative. But now I'm talking about future research. And I'm asking, if this is the theoretical approach, can we develop a theoretical approach to do something like this? I don't know. I really don't know the answer. I have doubt. I doubt that we can actually have a good theoretical approach that combines the two things.
Hey, all right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Woo. Energize, realize, feel so alive. Time's a gift, my time is free. I can spend it